Jen Hope, what's up? Sebastian here, and I just want to welcome you to Valley Creek students. Even here online, we are a movement of hope for the city and beyond. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a look at this weekend's message. And if you haven't caught that yet, you can always click the link below in the description to catch up on what we've been talking about over this weekend. And if you're looking for ways to get connected, like, man, maybe you need prayer for anything, we would love the opportunity to pray for you, or you want to get connected in student circles, man, go ahead and click right here for all that information for Valley Creek students. But right now, can you go ahead, prepare your heart, because God has something great for you. So go ahead, lean in, because it's going to be amazing.
Hey Valley Creek students, I'm so glad you're here at Student Circles. And do you know what? It's officially September. And that means that you have officially survived the summer of 2020. And man, it has been a summer. If you think about it, it's kind of been a really different year as well. We've never walked through a season like this before. We've seen changes and challenges, and I think maybe we've learned some things along the way. That's why this week we're starting a new series called Along the Way, and we're going to talk about those lessons that we've been learning. But you see, it's not just lessons that one of us is learning. It's lessons that God is teaching us together as a family. And you know, if you and I were sitting down for coffee, I would ask you, what has God been teaching you in this season? And you might have to think about it a little bit, but I might ask you, what have you seen? Because we have seen a lot. We've seen pain and we've seen sorrow. We've seen grieving as our schools closed and our activities were postponed. We've seen new normals like living 6 feet apart and going back to your car when you forgot your mask. We've seen the Valley Creek campuses grow quiet and still. We've seen our school year start through WebEx calendars. We've seen drive-by birthday parties. And you know what? We haven't actually even seen the inside of a Chick-fil-A in months. And all that we're seeing is impacting us, whether we realize it or not. We've seen the comfortable become uncomfortable. We've seen the certain become uncertain. And we've seen the familiar grow foreign. But through all that, we've gotten to learn this, that we live by faith, not by sight. And maybe you've heard that before, faith. I mean, we use that word a lot. We say things like, just have faith, or live by faith. We put it on shirts and rings, Bibles, journals. I mean, raise your hand right now if you have something on or around you with the word faith. I do. But here's the thing. I think we use that word so often, but we don't know what it means. I think we overuse it, but under-define it. We never actually give meaning to it. So can we change that? I mean, let me ask you this. What does faith really mean? Or better yet, what does it mean to you? And you see, the really great thing is that we get to turn to God's Word to find out what faith is. Hebrews 11 tells us this. Faith is the confidence in what we hope for and the assurance of what we do not see. Oh man, and I love that so much, that first part. It is confidence in what we hope for. But that second part, if I'm honest, it's a little hard. I mean, how do we not let the reality of what we see define how we live? I mean, what's wrong with that anyways? What's wrong with living by sight? What's wrong with living by what we can clearly see? Well, when we're living by our sight, we're forgetting a few things. You see, we're forgetting that God always has a better way. We're forgetting that we get to live by what Jesus has told us. We're forgetting that God has a vision for our lives. And we're forgetting that He promises that He always wins, no matter what. When we live by our sight, we're forgetting to live by His sight. But how do we do that? Like, how do we not let everything that's happening in the world affect how we're living? Well, Mark 8 tells us a really great story about that. And so you see, there's this group of friends, and one of them, well, he's blind. He can't see. And we don't know much about this group of friends, but we know a few of them, man, they had faith in Jesus. Because they knew that Jesus was going to be near, so they said, hey, let's take our friend to Jesus so Jesus can heal him. Pause. That is some faith, live and believe in friends to say, I know Jesus can heal my friend who is broken and hurting. So Jesus comes and he takes the guy by the hand and he leads him outside the village to heal him. He takes him outside of an unfamiliar place that he currently is. Wait, are we currently maybe in an unfamiliar, uncomfortable place? Yeah, I would say that we are. So would you think that maybe sometimes Jesus leads us to an unfamiliar place to heal us? Do you think maybe in this season, Jesus has led you to an unfamiliar place to heal some areas of blindness in your life? And so we're outside the village and Jesus lays his hands on the man and he spits in his eyes. Wait, what? Jesus spit in the man's eyes? That's a little unexpected and if you're that guy, probably a little uncomfortable, right? Maybe when Jesus is healing us, it's a little unfamiliar and a little uncomfortable. I mean, right now, would you say that something he is doing is unexpected in your life? Maybe it's a little not pleasant, but we get to believe that Jesus is still doing something in our lives when it's uncomfortable and unpleasant. So what happens is Jesus spits on his eyes, puts his hand on him, and he asks the guy, can you see anything? And the guy says, I think that I do. I think I see some people, but they kind of look like fuzzy tree people. Wait, fuzzy tree people? No, that's not God's best for the guy, right? So Jesus again lays his hand on the man, and then he has full sight for the first time. And in that moment, we see that Jesus always has something more. And you see, after that first time Jesus spit on his eyes, the man could have said, peace out and leave. But he didn't want to have fuzzy tree people vision. Would you want to have that? But here's the thing. I think sometimes we settle for fuzzy tree people vision. We say, hey, I want to go on to the next thing God has for me, or I'm good right here. I don't want to push any further. But God always has more for us. What we learn from this guy is that if we follow where Jesus is leading us and we stay where he is, he always has more. If you stay in your circle and you connect, if you stay committed to online learning, if you stay on that team or that club, even though it's uncomfortable or you might not feel like you're good enough, God always has more for you. When we stay by faith, God has more. And so you see, after he has his full vision, Jesus does something incredible. He sends him home. Now, if we remember our friend did not have sight, and Jesus took him to an unfamiliar place. So if he was still blind, he wouldn't be able to find his way home. Or even if he still had fuzzy tree people vision, he might wander in circles thinking he was making progress, but still be so far from where God sent him. Do you think maybe in this season, you've lost your way home? Do you think maybe you don't have sight to make your way home? Or do you think that you're settling for fuzzy tree people vision and wandering in circles thinking you're going somewhere? And here's the great thing about home. Home is where we find peace. It's where we find comfort. And home isn't a place with walls. Home is the Father's heart. So will you let Jesus' sight bring you home in this season? Living by faith, not by sight, is a lesson that we're learning. So let's keep growing together as we learn along the way.